It's Ronnie X for the 390 Music Channel. We are here in downtown Fullerton at Black Hole Records, and we have the owner here and a man with quite a punk history, Bill Evans.
Don't
Bill, how
believe
you
him.
doing? How you doing, Bill?
How's it going, man?
Good. Hey, listen. First of all, thanks for letting us take your time out of the day and have this discussion. First, why don't we just talk about Black Hole Records? Why don't you tell us what your store is all about?
Well, we started Black Hole in Brea, actually, where the Improv is now, down Brea Boulevard. So probably early '86. And I worked at other stores, Peer Records, Baker's Banquet, people probably remember. But yeah, we started in '86, and it was pretty much a mom and pop punk rock store. We had mostly vinyl, and I borrowed some money from my dad, and my wife borrowed some for her family. So we just opened it on a shoestring budget, and the rent was like $500. I've got pictures, actually. I'll show you. It's like Grandma's house. But it was cool, though. But we had many bands there. I mean, we had Social D, DI, Adolescents. We had Agent Orange on the roof one time, which is kind of amazing. It started a riot, so I almost got arrested. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it's just Flower Leopards, which is Tony from Adolescence band too. But it was a cool place. But we moved down here like '91, I think it was, and ever since then we've still been here. So, but the Black Hole's obviously got a lot of history with different places, from the Black Hole, Mike Ness, and Apartment by Ladera Vista. Like there's just a couple places. The Black Hole is like a hangout for punks, almost like Suburbia, the Squat House, and beer runs, and stealing food and shit. And
well, if you don't mind me interrupting, can you tell us more about the Black Hole for those who don't know?
Well, the Black Hole is a hangout for a lot of the bands, and Social D being one of them, and my band Naughty Women. We went there a few times, but we had to work for a living usually, so we didn't have time just to squat and do drugs all day, because we really didn't do drugs all day. So, but there was one. Mike Ness had an apartment by Ladera Vista, by the back part. That was one, and then there was another one. There was one by Brea Beach actually that punks would go to, and there's a lot of parties there with the detours and different people. But it was just basically a hangout. Like if you watch Suburbia, it's like the hangout where punks go to get chicks and hang out and do drugs and drink beer and then go on food runs or go to the mall and steal shit. But a lot of bands had to work for a living, and we were one of them, so we didn't have time. Went there a few times. But we get chicks in the mall easier just walking around, with makeup on.
So you started started this place in '91?
We started Black Hole in '86, actually.
But this
location,
store?
we came down in '91. We got relocated because back in the day, Brea really leveled everything. They took everything down and made it look like Irvine the way it is now. So they paid everybody to leave. So they paid me to leave, and I was pretty much glad to. And they pretty much wanted us to leave, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So yeah, we came down here, and there was an opening here. So we put both stores together. My wife has Stray Cat Vintage, which is on the other side, and I have Black Hole Records that me and her also run. So yeah, Fullerton. I always wanted to be Fullerton, but truth be told, in the first times we opened in '86, there's nothing available down here.
Right.
Back then, Fullerton Music actually was on this side of the street, but there was no opening. So we went to Brea because the rent was cheap, and it was like a little house, and I think it was like $500 a month. So that's really cheap, even for back then.
And you sell mostly vinyl records in this store?
Well, I started out with records and, obviously T-shirts, but everything had phases. We had a lot of cassettes at one time, a lot of CDs, and that's all been pretty much done. So it is back to the vinyl, because the kids are the ones that buy things, and they're the ones that change music, and they buy records again because it's tangible and real. Mm-hmm. Just like a tube amp versus a solid state amp, there's a big difference what's worth more. But a record's interactive without a phone in your hand. You can meet a chick, or you get into a band, whatever. You have a party with music, and you can like Zeppelin or Arctic Monkeys or the Pixies. It doesn't really matter. It's 40, 50 years of whatever is cool. No one's going to give a shit if you like Journey. It doesn't matter. It's all music. Yeah. You can like Black Flag and Lana Del Rey, and no one thinks that's weird. I mean, back when we were kids, you couldn't say, hey, I like my dad's music. You get laughed out of school. You didn't want to say you like your parents' music. That's kind of gay. No one liked that.
No, there's a lot of truth to that.
Nowadays, you can say your uncle saw The Clash or whatever. I mean, my daughter used to be embarrassed about my music now. Now she kind of likes it because now she's hearing things. And she knows I saw all these bands. And she, Mike Ness, blah, blah, blah. And to her, that's cool now. But for a long time, it probably wasn't. But some of the generation has gone from, from One Direction to Oasis. And it just goes that way. And then to the Smiths and Morrissey, who's quite big out here.
And so, what? Once a year, your record store hosts an event in Fullerton.
Yeah, thanks for doing that show, by the way.
Oh,
You
you're
guys,
very
I heard
welcome.
I was in England actually. You guys went over really good.
Thank you.
And my wife said you guys are awesome.
Well, we
But
appreciate it.
yeah, it's been I think 3 years now. It's called a Day of Music, and it's in the first day of summer, which is usually what was it, June 23rd? I forgot. 21st. And then, it highlights the arts in Fullerton, which is, Fullerton's very famous for a lot of things. The Fender guitar being one of them. And you got big bands out of here, Social D, you have, DI, Agent Orange, Adolescents. You have, no doubt, Gwen's from Fullerton, Anaheim area. No doubt, back in the day, Terry Nunn's Fullerton Girl. Berlin was big in the 80s. But I try to highlight local bands, especially bands from Fullerton, and a lot of our customer bands. But I like to get the youth coming in that have that drive that when they plug in, it's really fun. Like those first days in a band where you start jamming, you just plug in. You don't give a crap you're making any money because, people are watching you. It's cool. But that feeling goes away when everything takes a toll and it's about the money, and you end up hating your best friend and you hate his girlfriend because, you have divides in the camp. But when they first start, that's when they can't wait to get out there in that front patio and just start jamming. That's how it's supposed to be.
And I think a lot of bands do appreciate venues like yours. I mean, it is an opportunity to come and play and get exposed to, people that just won't see your music. So, we appreciate you having us that day in June. We were talking earlier, you were mentioning new bands. What do you think what's a new band have to do now to get exposure, to get a following?
Well, you got so much social media. You got cloud. You got you can do Instagram. You can do Snapchat. There's so many venues, but the thing is now you can press vinyl and you can sell them at your show. Or I always tell kids you could do a 7-inch and you do a co-7-inch double A side. Get a friend of yours band and split the cost of it. You can sell them both for $10 and you can sell them all over and number them on the back. It's a no-brainer. Any kid will buy a record if he likes you for $10 because if you become big, look at the White Stripes for 7-inches. People laughed at Jack White. Look how big he got. He had a demo tape and one guy signed him, who sold him off later and made gazillions. But you never know that first record or whatever it is. I remember when the Germs had their first single, I was all jealous because we didn't have a single, so I was like, yeah, it's okay. So I never really got one because I didn't want to act like, because we were like same kind of bands and friends. I didn't want to act like that was so cool, even though I was like dying with envy. So I was like, God, it sucks. We didn't have the cash for a single, so I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool if you like that. And I really did think it was cool. But a 7-inch is cool, even if that's all you ever do.
No, I remember spinning 45s.
Yeah.
When I first met you a few months ago, probably sometime in June, I started talking to you, and I didn't realize the history you had here in Orange County in the punk scene, and when you were here when it first started. Do you care just sharing some of that with us? And you were in the band called Naughty Woman, correct?
Yeah, it's called Naughty Women, yes.
You mind just sharing some of those stories with us?